All right, this video is going to show you how I'm able to list 5 to 15 items, and it takes me about 3 minutes per item. Don't time me on this video because I'm going to be talking about how I post this. This is going to go on 2 different things. Actually, I'm posting this on YouTube to just kind of show what I do, and maybe this can help someone out. But I'm also posting this on Facebook in a group that I'm in, so people can kind of look and critique and see what I can do to make my process faster, or maybe even grab ideas. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we're gonna be along the ride with this. It's gonna be a short video. Hopefully audio works out okay. I tried taking this video previously and the audio was really bad. Actually, there was no audio. So hopefully this one works out much better. I'm gonna take photos of a few different things. You're gonna see shirts, jeans, shorts, and hats. Luckily I have all of those here today, so you can kind of see the process of how I do all of them, and then we'll get going. So let's start off first with the setup, what it is and how it works, and then I'll walk you through briefly on what just the overall process is, because there's some things that never change no matter what I'm taking a picture of. So we'll start with that. First, I have this light box that I got here from Amazon, super cheap. There's 2 of them. There's one up here. I have one in the basement, so I turn that on when I'm recording. I say basement, I always mean garage, but that's where my eBay thing is, but I have another one down there. Next, I have these Amazon lights. These could probably be better, but they get the job done. They work pretty good. And so I have taken the little table that is holding my foam thing, and we'll talk about that in a second. Screw these guys on, and then that gives me kind of these 4 corners illuminated, so the center is much more lit. This is a foam board that I got from Home Depot. It was 4 feet by 4 feet. I actually cut it in half. If you look really closely, you can see the seam, so that way it would fit in my car. And then I took this little, there was a section in Walmart where all these like custom blankets were, where people do like the crafts. I just got the longest one that I could find, that's this gray, and then I actually stapled it on the back, and it's holding up. And then if you can see here, I have clamps that are holding the foam together. And that's kind of how the whole piece gets set up. Next, I have a little mini table that I also got at Walmart. This mini table is what holds my clear poly bag. So I have big poly bags for anything like massive jeans, jackets, like whatever is going to be big in these poly bags. And then these ones, which I also have on Amazon, these fit 99% of the things that I list, including most of my jeans. Let me pull up the Amazon listing here. Actually, I can show this too. This is my SKU number. I actually just crossed over 1,000. We're already into 1,051 items. So that is that. I get that from Amazon, super, super cheap. Here's the clear poly bags. I always recommend just get more because they're so freaking cheap. This one was $6.99 for a pack of 100. So I always get like 2 or 3 at a time. And then you can probably see here is my setup. Hopefully you guys can see this. For the lights, I got a 2-pack. They're both $31.49 each. Then next thing behind my table is I have the little rollers for the sticky things. Rollers for the sticky things, I hope that makes sense. Always keep the roller sticky thing right here, so that way if there's just a few hairs, I can roll it. I have this pointer. I thought I was gonna use this a lot. I don't use this as much as I do. I honestly just use the ruler to kind of point out because I feel like it's just an extra step. Then I have my Walmart yardstick ruler. Now this one's okay, but one thing I don't like is that at certain angles the light really gets reflective off of this black. So I would recommend maybe just looking at a different place to get a ruler or the yardstick. This one goes up to, let's see, 35.5 inches. So that's that, and this is the ruler that I use. And then I just have it sit up against my wall right here like this. And so if I'm gonna take a picture, I take it, slide it in, and then that's how I'll take photos of everything. So that's kind of how the whole setup works. I have to go find the foam roller thing. Oh, and then one last thing, I always have YouTube on the back. Typically I'm using listening bolo videos or reselling videos or just a good business podcast or sometimes just a TV show. I mean, a couple weeks ago I was just watching Avatar. It's really good to have something on the background that my brain can kind of listen to because then it makes the time fly by really quick. And then one other thing, some people use specific phones for this business. I probably will at some point, but I use just my regular iPhone. I don't know which iPhone this is, but the pop socket on the back of my iPhone is really what's helpful. because if I'm taking a picture and then I have to flip my jeans over or my pants or whatever, I don't want to have to turn around, set my phone down, or hold my phone in an awkward way. I can just hold like this in the pop socket, take, flip, and then go right back to pictures. So that helps me. Some people do lanyards and stuff, but the pop socket works just fine. So let me find the sticky roller, and then we'll get to one other necessity that is controversial, but I definitely like to have a good energy drink before I get into listings. The caffeine, when it hits just right, it just makes me get into this flow state that I completely lose track of. One other thing that I forgot too is that after I have put these in the poly bags, I have my boxes already lined up. I usually have one that's already halfway full, and then an empty one I load up behind it. If I'm feeling really ahead of time, I'll go downstairs and do a couple of these boxes, and that always helps to have extras of these already kind of packaged up and ready to go. Enough talking here, let's get rolling on some pictures. Like I said, we'll just do one of every category. I'm not gonna go over my whole process. Just want you to see what it looks like. First off, what I do is I get it all set up, pull off this hair. A lot of people do what they call like a hero shot or whatever, and they'll kind of take a picture of like this up here with the logo. I don't know, I've never done that. I make sales like this. So I take this, I try to angle it as best as I can. The more the angle this is at, I'm 6 foot, so I'm able to move all the way up and touch the wall really easily. But I get my first hero shot. This is the one that I take the most time on, just making sure it's centered. It's the most important picture. Then I'm gonna kind of fly through. So grab the ruler, get the pit to pit. I typically don't move the arms because it's pretty obvious that this is the end of the pit. I'll open up here. If the sleeve is hanging off a little too long, I'll just kind of pull back. Sleeve shot right there. And then the length right there. Bang. Certain times I'll take pictures of how wide a sleeve is or how whatever, depending on what that looks like. And then I just do the same thing, flip it over on the back and get the back photo. When I upload these photos, I'll just add these two back to back. Now I take a look in here. Sometimes there's tags in here that will kind of show the material it's made out of, 100% cotton right here. One thing that I always do is just use this point ×5. Instead of getting super up close to it, I feel like it saves time than moving. One other thing that I forgot to do too, usually right after, but because I'm talking, I forgot, but I always take a picture of the tag and any other features before I flip it over. So that will save me more time. I try to keep it on the 0.2 lens, sit down in my chair, fold up the shirt. Like this, like I said, this poly bag is going to fit this really easily. It looks like it's not because it's really long, but if I scrunch it up, it'll be good. It does take time if you're a newer reseller to kind of get these to slide in a little bit easier, but I just typically try to get one opening, slide it in, and then it's good to go. When I first got these, it took me much longer to be able to slide the bags in, and that took more time, but when I'm sitting down, it's just easier for me. So I don't know, some people could do it standing up. Like I said, I'm open to the idea of anything to save a decent amount of time. And then I take a picture of my SKU, make sure this is pushed down, and I slide it in. All right, so that's a sweater. Let's go on to another article of clothing. We're gonna do pants. These vintage polo by Ralph Lauren, made in USA. These are nice. So I'm gonna open this up, make sure everything's good. Sometimes getting things from the bins, they're just kind of like, wrinkly, but I'm not gonna sit here all day to pull out every wrinkle. It's just a waste of time in my opinion. So I'm gonna pull back here, hero shot. Like I said, I usually take as much time as I can, or reasonable time for the hero shot. And then I'm gonna go waist. If this is a women's pair of clothing, I would show the rise, but since this is not, I just go right into the inseam. I just sling this up into the crotch and then there. And then I take the opening of the leg because some people really care about that. Then I go into my tag. So here's my most obvious tag. I'll open it up here, see if there's any tag on this side. Flip over and get this back side here. And then I like to go pocket and pocket. Usually there's different things on the pocket. Like this one has a flap, this one doesn't, but it has its nice logo. Now I'm gonna look for the size Here we go. Dang, this is nice, pretty cool. And then I'm gonna throw in that point times 5 because that's just gonna make it so obvious in the listing. And I use AI to list, and so the more clear that my sizing and things are, the better, because sometimes if it's like kind of faded or if I'm too far away, the AI will think a large says extra large, or that a small, you know, whatever, it'll just be all off. So with jeans, I love putting pants into these. So I call this a taco method. You see, I folded it up. I like to keep a logo out, so then that way when this item sells, it's easier for me to see. What I do is I'll open up my package and I'll slide it in like this, like a taco or a hot dog or whatever. I'll let this side open up as best as it can. And what this does is this creates it to be much flatter. The flatter that this is, the more I can fit in my box. And the other, I'm too distracted talking, I didn't even put the sticker on. And the easier it is for me to ship. So I get all my air out. I typically like to bring it on the back side here, not near the flap. And I'll put my SKU on that. And then bang, picture of the SKU. Slide it in. As you can see, SKU facing down, sliding it in. And then I push down as hard as I can. Just that one push was able to get me easily a couple more items. So these are Patagonia swim shorts. I got at the bins today. So what I'm gonna do is get the shorts set up like this. I'm going to hero shot, bang. One thing I tried not to do is, like, if I can fit just the gray in there, but sometimes you're gonna get the wall. I really don't care. Now I'm going to still get the waist shot. I'll get the whole length of the shorts from the highest point to the lowest point. Bang. I'll get the inseam of the shorts. Bang. And then the opening of the shorts. Bang. And because especially this is Patagonia, I want to make sure that I'm showing off the most important part of the Patagonia here. Again, hit times 0.5. It's going to zoom in on the logo and the size and everything else like that. Flip the shorts over. Back shot of the shorts. And because these are some shorts, I probably wouldn't show pocket and pocket, but there is a key part of this, the Patagonia, that I'm going to show. And then I always open up this way to see if there's anything else I want to show. This one I want to show the drawstring and the inner lining, so I'm just going to take a picture like that, kind of an ugly picture, and then fold these up. Shorts and small things like this can make it kind of difficult, because if I make it too small, it just kind of sits weird in the box. So I'll still do the same taco method, where I slide you in, open you up like this, and now this is gonna be super thin in the box, which is really helpful because it's always nice to have extra stuff. I can't do it with everything. Like, I have a sports bra in there that I'm selling, and it's just gonna, it only fits weird in these bags because it's gonna take up half the bag no matter what I try to do. But this one, I'm able to get it good, take a picture of that, and slide in. I don't know where my roller is, so that's okay. It's not that bad. It is pretty bad. Dang, man, that's the worst. So these figs, I'm not gonna put this one away because I gotta lint roll it. It's gonna bother me. That's another question I would be open to asking. So I've heard some people not caring. I see a lot of hair on this. I feel like a quick lint roll would just make it so I don't get a return, but that's just me. So what I do is I'd throw it up here. I'd get my hero shot. I would go pit to pit. I'd hit the length. And then usually I'll hit like the length of the sleeve and the opening of the sleeve. And then I'll showcase any other thing. Again, with my pop socket, I'll keep it here. Flip my pop socket open. Flip this. It's definitely gonna need a lint roll in my opinion. And then I just get that last shot and then would complete there. So that's that. This needs to get lint rolled, so I gotta find my handy dandy lint roller. All right, so on to hats. If the hat can stand on its own, this one can, then this makes my life a lot easier. And especially if it's already shaped well, I feel like I'd make a different story or a different video for hats. But for the hat, what I do is I actually go to times 0.2. This gives like a really good hero shot in my opinion, because me holding this, my hand's not distracting enough, at least I think, because I'm selling hats, and it's very up close. If I had the times 1, I feel like there'd be a lot more distracting and I'd have to kind of bring it in and it's gonna shape the hat weird. So I do times 0.2, I hit the front, I actually flip, I'll show opening, and then I'll show tag. Tag. This one has a name on it. Shout out Tom. There you go. There was your old hat. Then I'll go side, side, back, and then I just do this to kind of show the whole hat as it is. And then there's two things. I have a hat box if I have individual hats, or if I buy hats in bulk, I actually have a specific way that I label the hats. I cut these boxes in half, and then I'll lay the SKU on here, and then the hat sits, I just tuck it in and the hat will sit here. But if it's just an individual hat, I throw the hat in the individual box, and that seems to work. So if that's something you guys are into, feel free to subscribe, ask questions in the comments. If you guys wanna see more processes, like how I store my items or how I label and ship items and how I do that, I'd be happy to go through a whole process and make a video about that. I'm just kind of open to all different types of videos right now on the YouTube channel of showcasing different strategies and what I do. Like I said, this is not perfect, and I don't think it will ever be perfect, but it works right now of having this whole setup here, and I can just kind of hang out, watch a YouTube video, or listen to a TV show or a podcast or something like that. Something that's not going to be too distracting. I just found my lint roller. Tell me if you see it. Anyone see my lint roller? It fell in the dog's toy, as you can see. I don't know if the camera's picking up on that, but it's gonna need a new sheet. Normally my lint roller sits right here, and then I can sit there. I'm not even gonna get this thing close, but I'm glad I just found it. Just for that, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, because I feel like that enough should be like, wow, that's so inspiring. He found his lint roller after all this time. So anyways, thank you guys for hanging out. Let me know if you guys want to see more processes, and I'll let you for the rest of the day. Have a great day. Peace.